Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo.
I'm Nick.
Another great week, another great episode coming at you, episode 64. And as always, we're excited to be here. Quick heads up before we start the show. We want to thank everybody for following us on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. We've been hitting some good numbers, and we appreciate the support. So keep on following and liking the content and commenting on the content. That helps us out a lot. Make sure you follow us and find our website, pressingbuttons.gg. That way you get all the links for everything where we're at. Easy portal for you guys to find everything. And then as well, we wanted to remind everybody out there who has a PlayStation 5, just because, it's important to me, and I think it's very good advice. If you have a PlayStation 5, on May 9th, PlayStation is going to do away with the PlayStation Plus collection. So make sure you guys at least go in there and just add the games to your library from the collection. It's a lot of good games: Persona, The Last of Us, Final Fantasy, Ratchet and Clank, a bunch of good PlayStation games that you should have. So make sure you do that if you don't want to lose out on some games. Just add them to your library so you can play them on down the road. You guys know I'm a big proponent of the PlayStation Plus stuff. So, and whenever you're bored, you might want to, pick up something new that you haven't played before, just something you've played before and want to play again.
What's the most recent one
that I got on?
Yeah.
Oh, I started playing.
It was pretty recent, right? Like in the last few weeks, I thought.
What?
A game that you got from the PS Plus.
Well, I played Spider-Man again, and because Spider-Man's coming out soon, and I played The Last of Us a little bit. But the one that I hadn't played that I got was Days Gone. That was like the biggest one where I never played it.
Okay, that was a while ago. I feel like there was a game more recently that you.
Well, I played.
You're dabbling with it.
The Transformers one. That one I downloaded from like 3 years ago that it was on PlayStation Plus. But
yeah.
I'm a big proponent of PlayStation Plus as much as Nick is a big proponent of Game Pass.
I'm a proponent.
Yeah.
I do admire your dedication to this PSA. I think this has got to be our most frequent PSA of telling our audience to make sure that they download things before they run out of time.
I mean, I may just be shilling for Sony so they could give me free stuff, but also good.
We got some free Sony stuff. You remember that? We got that cool shirt.
Oh yeah, we got some awesome shirts at Evo. But everybody got those. Sony, give me stuff that you don't give to anybody else.
That's still free. Free stuff is free stuff.
Yeah, all right. But, make sure you guys download those games or add them to the library. They're really, really great games. Big collection. I believe it's about 25. You won't regret it. And that's it. We're just going to jump right into some news. A lot of the big news we have this week is Xbox space. Obviously the last couple of weeks with their title releases and news that they've been talking about has not been looking good. The first one we want to talk about is a recent Phil Spencer interview that he did for the Kinda Funny Xcast. For those unfamiliar, it's just a podcast/video show that they have on YouTube, and this one mainly focuses on Xbox stuff. So he went on there. He basically just gave his comments on how disappointed he was on the release of Redfall, mainly because they had promised a lot of things to the gamers, to the community, in terms of the 60 FPS, how great the game was going to be, but just because of the disappointment of the release, which we'll talk about after this, of the game itself, how bad it's doing review-wise, how bad it's doing sales-wise, how bad it's doing graphics-wise. He was just saying that he was very disappointed by that. Also commenting on how even with the purchase and acquisition of Bethesda and all those other studios, this is not going to necessarily help them in terms of getting subscribers, and not one game is going to lead people to come in and buy the consoles, especially something like Starfield coming out that they're betting big on. But that's not going to kind of push people to buy Xboxes, especially since he thinks that the last console generation, the PS4 and the Xbox One generation, when people started adding more games to their digital libraries, was basically the generation that was needed to be won to kind of come out ahead on these future digital world. Very interesting stuff for him to say. I don't think necessarily, we're going to a digital world, but it's not make it or break it. If you have good software, I think it sells hardware, and obviously it brings people into your ecosystem. So regardless of if you don't have the lead in this generation, if you have good games, people are going to flock to your system, or at least download them, and bring your revenue up. And I think ultimately that's always been kind of my issue with this whole thing, and what they're trying to do. I get that they are definitely pushing for the digital content. Obviously Game Pass is one of their biggest things with how much users they have, but they've kind of hit a plateau in the sense of, at some point you hit the highest amount of subscribers you can get, and then you'll increase some more. But at the end of the day, it's more about keeping those subscribers now at this point. But with all that stuff, I think if you have the titles that are drawing people in, that'll work itself out. Obviously, with the last releases of Redfall, that didn't work itself out. The delay of Starfield into November, which was one of the biggest titles that they were promising to be on Game Pass day one, that also kind of kicked the bucket. Halo Infinite being super, super bad at launch, and they're still kind of working on it and losing leads and all that stuff. That's all kind of just disastrous. I think they should just get right back on the ship. Give us the titles, give good titles, make sure these games are getting shipped complete. Basically, I'm not going to say no issues. Obviously, games are going to have some issues, but give a finished title with that's complete, that's won't have too many issues, and I think you'll get everybody back on your side. What did you think of his interview? What did you think of his outlook, and what he thinks is the main problem?
Yeah, it was an interesting interview to say the least, and I thought it was kind of admirable that he actually was planned to go on the XCast podcast for a different reason. I'm guessing he was just gonna go and hype up the showcase that I think we'll talk about a little bit here in a little bit. But then like he had this planned appearance on the podcast, and then Redfall happened, and I think it was something that he wasn't going to be able to avoid, and instead of like canceling it or trying to have some other specific agenda around specifically not talking around Redfall, he decided to kind of just take it in stride. So I do admire that. I do. It was kind of like, I don't know if bizarre is the right word, but like I don't think I've seen really any executive in any company in any industry like have this type of interview where they're just like, yeah, we suck right now, and
It was very
everything's bad,
defeatist.
and
It was very
it's
defeatist.
very
I'm like, oh my
defeatist,
gosh.
and like then there's part of me that appreciates that, but then there's also part of me that's like, okay, like shouldn't there just be more answers and attempts to like get the audience engaged into the platform and into the future, as opposed to just kind of so I don't know, I was surprised by how long that went on, of just like, oh yeah, like this, we did this wrong, this game sucks, we got to do better, it's all my fault, it's on me. Like I think they could have done just like a 10-minute version of that, and then just try to just move on and get people excited. Yeah, and there were a lot of interesting kind of points that were discussed. I think the whole like, we lost the most important generation because it was the digital, kind of this inflection point where more people were building digital libraries. I don't think I've really heard that before. So I think that was kind of like a new take on the console wars, which I don't know if I totally agree with. Like I think it might be a partial contributor to that, but I think there's probably a lot of different factors, as you mentioned, and which I think everyone would agree with. It's just like it's the games, like big surprise. It's the games, and like there haven't really been that many first party or exclusive titles on the Xbox platform in quite some time that I think just generated the same level of excitement and critical acclaim as Sony's done. So if Sony's delivering at that higher level for, I don't know, decade, like well over 5 years, but somewhere between 5 and 10 years. Like it took them, they started out as a, they were kind of like the new entrance into the uh, games race at some point as well, right? And it took them quite some time to really build up their own, first party studios and to be able to deliver at that level. So, but I just think they were able to get to that level faster and then keep it up and keep it consistent and build upon it, where I feel like Xbox has really struggled with doing that. So I think it's more of a simple of just like it's the games, and Xbox still has yet to deliver really any games. Like, I do talk about Game Pass a lot, but most of that is not really first party Xbox stuff. It's really like other titles that I otherwise wouldn't have purchased directly. So I'm, a fan of their like value propositions, mostly from Xbox Game Pass. But I mean, what's a first party title that you've played from that and that gets you like real excited?
Gears was the last one, and it wasn't even like the most recent one. It was more like the Xbox 360 Gears. Like nothing that they've released, I think,
Yeah.
has me as hyped as I would say any PlayStation titles. When you hear God of War, when you hear Horizon, when you hear Ghost of Tsushima, when you hear Spider-Man, like you could go on and on about their titles, and that's why I agree with you in a sense of when he's like, oh, the digital library. It wasn't about the digital library because you mostly had the same titles that were getting released on both consoles. Just you could download or whatever you have. It's just that the one that had the better first party titles was Sony, and that's why they took the lead, and that's why everybody was flocking. And it was all word of mouth because I could, obviously remembering getting the PS4 over the Xbox One. I had a 360 as my main console, and I didn't really start playing my PS3 until the end. But just all the marketing and the push of the PlayStation 4 and how easy it was and all that stuff about like the sharing the titles, I think that just kind of put them in the lead, and Xbox never really recovered from that. And you can see that at the end of the Xbox One console generation is when they realized what they needed to do, which is why they went on this buying spree and obviously acquired Bethesda, and then are trying to acquire Activision Blizzard because they know that it's the titles that sell the consoles. It's the titles that are going to get the consumers and the gamers on your side and talking about your games and buying your games and all that stuff. So yeah, that whole thing about digital stuff kind of.
Yeah. And what does that even mean? Like, because it's not like Steam where if you buy the game once, you play it on whatever PC you build, for the rest of your life. Going from PS3 to PS4 to PS5, like it's not like if you bought a game on PS3 that it just like seamlessly migrates through all those different things. So I kind of don't really buy the stickiness of your digital library.
If anything, the
Like,
Xbox has a better digital library in terms of playing your 360 games and Xbox One games. So that's
yeah,
kind of weird.
so yeah, so again, like I've never heard that before. I don't totally buy it. Maybe it's a partial contributor, but I think there's a lot of other more important reasons why Xbox is kind of falling behind. Um, and yeah, kind of to reiterate what I was saying before, it's like I don't know why they didn't just use this as an opportunity. I think they touched on. I don't know if you watched the whole thing or not, but I did. I think they touched on like some of the titles. I think Phil's in this like interesting place where he couldn't really. I don't think he wanted to say too much because that's like the whole reason why they want to do this like showcase in June. So it's an Xbox showcase and then also like a deep dive on Starfield. So I don't think he wanted to like give away too much, but like I do feel, I'm still trying to be optimistic. Just from like a fan perspective, like I do think they have a lot of really cool stuff to announce. I think they're just in this really hard place right now where people are just losing confidence in that roadmap of like, okay, well, yeah, it's like you've announced a lot of cool titles. We really haven't seen much from them. Based on what we've seen with recent big launches, like should we just expect them to be also like mediocre, or what's going to actually change to get us excited around these actually being like world-class titles that people are going to be wanting to play?
Yeah, and then just to quickly for one last thing, like you were saying with the whole defeatist attitude, and obviously you don't want to like throw out all your secrets or whatever, and we're just 1 month away from their big showcase, but at least be positive, be like, oh yeah guys, we're gonna make it up to you, we got stuff coming, but not even a little bit of that, which we'll talk about the showcase itself.
Yeah, I think there's also I saw some speculation which may or may not be accurate, but just because they are in this like competition review with the CMA and their Activision acquisition, I think some people are like, oh yeah, like they're just doing this. They're just like saying stuff like this on purpose to make it seem like they're huge losers and can't win, and so it's like like maybe, but like
listen, if you play a loser long enough, you'll become the loser.
Yeah,
so might not want to do that.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't think that's that's like not a good strategy. I think there's I think the whole CMA thing is pretty odd. Like their whole argument against the acquisition, I think, is kind of a silly one. So I think with Microsoft appealing that, I think, just trying to be, again, optimistic, I think there's a world where they can actually successfully navigate that and not have this like comms to their audience where they're just like, oh, everything, we suck. And, like, I think that's not a good look. So I don't know.
Yeah, they need to get that confidence back. Go talk to Steve Ballmer. Maybe he'll give you some. But I mean, if they lost if according to him they lost the last generation, they definitely do not want to lose this one because it's not looking good. Just release some some games. Let people know what you're coming through.
There's part of me that's just like he wanted to like kind of point the finger at someone else. He's like, oh yeah, the most important generation was the one before I took over as the leader of Xbox. And so
it was that guy's fault.
Yeah, it was that guy's fault. I'm doing the best I can, but it was all that guy's fault.
Yeah. Well, on the heels of that, and obviously because of his interview with them talking about Redfall, that was the next thing we want to talk about. Redfall, basically, released on May 2nd, available on Xbox Game Pass, available on PC as well. And it was one of the worst releases I think I've heard or seen in a while. The reviews, like I said earlier, pretty bad. Graphics were bad. 30 FPS, of course, we've talked about that before, how disappointed everybody was. And it's just overall, I don't think I saw one good review about it, even if some companies were trying to be shills about it and kind of like not give it too bad of a review. It's hard not to, especially because it didn't release to the standards of Arcane, which known for Deathloop and Dishonored and all those games, and Prey. It's hard to not compare the game itself to those games, especially because they had so much writing on it. Obviously, he also said that the core of the gameplay was already there, so there was no way that like a delay would have helped it anyways. So that in itself, I don't know what that says about Arcane Studios and what they were going for, because if it was already set in place, it would have basically failed no matter what. And going forward in the future, especially with all these games that Microsoft eventually wants to be able to release from all these Bethesda acquisitions, you kind of have to start wondering where like anything that's close to release, is it going to have the same issues where like if they're bad, is it because the core's already there before Microsoft acquired them completely and they're just kind of releasing it, or will they be good enough to get released and people actually like them? I didn't play Redfall, obviously. I was looking forward to it. We've been talking about it for a while because we wanted it to be one of our multiplayer games, but I was waiting on Nick to play it on Game Pass and then let me know if it's good, and then maybe I could download it. But even before that, like, we already kind of decided that we weren't even going to touch this. And I did tell him to download it and play it just so we could have some sort of impression, but I don't think he did that.
No,
what did you end up doing?
I didn't want to, the reviews were so bad, I didn't want it to taint my hard drive, was the phrase that I used. Yeah, it just looked, I did watch a lot, like I watched Twitch streamers and there was a lot of like promoted streams and, YouTube videos of people more or less shitting on the game and all the technical issues. I think reviews started maybe coming out in our like right before our last episode. I can't remember, but
I think that the earliest one was came out on Monday. It was supposed to come out at 11 p.m. and then somebody released it at 11
oh
a.m.
yeah,
So it kind
yeah,
of like it was
yeah,
this weird thing.
yeah. So it's like I just didn't see any value, and like also. This is going back several weeks, but when IGN did their initial coverage, I think they call it like the IGN first. That was multiplayer centric, and we were, or at least I was for sure, like just kind of shitting on that footage. And I'm like, oh my god, like it looks awful. And now that we know what the game actually, how it actually plays, I think I was making a comment about like the number of edits in that game footage. So it's like I wonder if they're like editing out shit that was like clearly broken or like what was going on there. So I feel like there's this kind of whole shady situation with those multiplayer impressions. Also the fact that that was on I think it was PC footage at supposedly 60 frames per second, and then they kind of come out after that and talk about on consoles it's only going to be at 30 frames per second. So I don't know, even going back then, like I was more or less turned off by the multiplayer. Like it looked pretty bad, but I think there was still some hope that given Arcane's background that the first player or the single player was actually still going to be pretty solid. But it just seems like that's the whole package is pretty rough. So didn't have any interest in actually downloading it and playing it.
Yeah, and one thing I want to let everybody know is that we don't like shitting on devs. We don't think it's the devs' fault. Obviously, it's not the game that you would want to release, and there's definitely like a lot of things that probably went wrong throughout the whole process of this game that kind of made it into the game that it is. So we don't fault the devs. Making a game is very hard. You have so many pieces that you got to get right for people to like it, and even if you get everything right, people might still not like it. So it's just you don't know all the details, so you kind of want to know what exactly happened to kind of lead to this situation, especially when you're used to a studio of Arcane's quality releasing great quality content. So if you know anything and you want to let us know, you could just always go and send us an email or go on our website.
What's
or
our bat
come on
line?
Discord.
Do we got a bat line?
No, we don't. Just
Discord?
DM us on Discord. We're always there. Make sure you get on pressingbuttons.gg. You'll get our Discord link. One thing I did before we move on to the next topic, I did put, what does this mean for Starfield? And I wanted to ask that question just in a general sense of, I'm kind of doubting it. Obviously, Nick has had Starfield to be his big stinker since 2022. Now that it has moved on to 2023.
Now you're operating at my level.
Yeah, it has moved on to 2023, and I think I feel like it's gonna be worse off than it is now. He still has kind of high hopes. He thinks it's gonna get good reviews, but I've never been a big fan of that format that they've done with Fallout and Oblivion and all that stuff. I don't think it doesn't draw it to me. That's why I was never a big Skyrim fan. But on my end, I think it's with all these issues that that Redfall has. I wouldn't be surprised if Starfield has all these issues, especially with all the delays. But your thoughts on that were?
Yeah. To clarify, I don't know I don't think I used the term good reviews. I think it'll be.
You said 7 and 8.
It'll be like a good. I think it'll be a good game that has a lot of technical. So it's going to be typical, kind of Bethesda. It'll be buggy, performance issues, whatever. I think it'll be a good game, not this not an excellent or amazing game, which is like kind of what I think where everyone's at in terms of their expectations, where they think it's going to come out and be game of the generation and blow everyone away. Like I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think it'll be a solid title. Like the actual score should probably be like in the high 70s, I would guess. And then the Xbox fandom oriented sites will probably give it something a little more generous than that. So that's kind of
a C average is what you're saying. C average over here.
I'll give it a Yes, maybe C plus. I think it'll
Okay.
be like a C plus.
Do you think it's going to be better than Fallout 76?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Fallout
right.
76 was
That's a
like
good. Yeah. That was their last big one. That was their last like.
yeah, but that was kind of it's a different style of game for them, and I think this is more in their wheelhouse. I just think it's just going to be, kind of more of the same in space with a bunch of technical issues that I don't think will be as bad as Redfall or some of these other more recent titles that have been plagued by technical issues.
All right.
There's going to be plenty of bugs though, so don't worry about that. But I don't think it'll be, out of the ordinary for their games.
All right. So we'll wait and see. It's still on there. The big stinker of 2023. So our Discord members are going to be very very happy when they
And
when they see this.
to be clear, like if the game comes out and it's all nine, like great, like like I don't have I'm not
Yeah, we're
rooting
still gonna
against-
play it. Yeah, we're
like
still
I'm not
gonna play
like
it.
rooting against this game for some reason. I just kind of think that's like based on the trends, like that's just kind of where I think it'll land.
All right. All right. Well, you know who to come after if it comes out really good. Just give Nick all the shit. He's fine with it. All right. And then the last Xbox related thing we want to talk about is the Xbox Games Showcase. Microsoft officially announced that they're scheduling their showcase for June 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It would also be followed by a Starfield Direct, which they'll be doing right after. And then on June 13th, they will have an Xbox Games Showcase Extended, which is basically just showing off everything that they talked about on the June 11th showcase, and it will also have interviews with developers and stuff like that to get a better sense of everything that they announced. What we're expecting out of this, at least on my end, I think they definitely need to bring the games. Bring the games, bring solid release dates, bring me some good footage. Get everybody back up, man. Because I may not have an Xbox, but I do have a PC. I download the games that are good. So give me good games. Give me solid details. Give me solid confirmation dates, and I think you can get everybody back on track. Obviously, you want to get the goodwill of the gamers. You want to get the gamers talking, get the hype train back on your side. Just show them that you're very committed and stop playing this defeatist attitude of, oh, Sony's winning. Oh, Sony doesn't let me buy Activision Blizzard, and we'll be back on track.
That was a pretty good impression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Phil Spencer right there. What do you think? Do you think they have it in them to turn it around with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this a number of times. I think there's a lot we don't know. Both Microsoft and Sony have a very large portfolio of game developers with a lot of unannounced stuff. So I think my hope is that this summer is going to be a fantastic time of learning about roadmaps from both of these companies. So yeah, I expect to hear a lot of announcements. I think the big question mark is going to be what are we actually going to see, and is it another summer of CGI trailers and cinematics and stuff like that, or are we actually going to see gameplay that impresses us? So that's the big question mark. Like, I'll be very disappointed if it's just like a bunch of cinematics and it's like, okay, like people need to see what these games actually look like and what they can expect to be playing. Particularly given how they've marketed some of their more recent games, where there's kind of this a little bit of like bait and switch type thing going on. So again, trying to be optimistic, deliver gameplay. There's a lot of stuff. I think Fable's a big one. Perfect Dark. If they announce something on Banjo, I think that'd be a slam dunk. I think a lot of people would be very excited about that. Those are probably the top three that come to mind.
And Kojima's working on a game with them as well too.
Yeah. He's doing something. It's not necessarily not Death Stranding related, but it's probably not Death Stranding related. I think it's something that leverages cloud technology in some way. So, which I think actually works pretty well in the Death Stranding universe, but I would expect that Sony has like a some influence over whether he can actually use that IP for this type of game. But yeah, there could be something there. But it kind of seemed like they announced, because that was maybe about a year or
Yeah,
so
last
ago.
year was the announcement of everything, especially because they did give that big everything coming out in the next 12 months. And well,
Except that, right? That was like the outlier where that was
yeah,
like, yeah. So I think they were more kind of announcing a partnership. So, it'll probably take several years to actually see that title, but depending on the scale, like the scope of it, maybe it's something that's a little bit more bite sized and they can ship it out relatively quickly. But I don't know. So I'm not. I would love to see something, but I don't. Maybe they talk about it, but it's probably not going to be some like big gameplay, reveal or anything like that.
yeah. Last year was the year of CG trailers and all that stuff. This is the year of gameplay footage, stuff getting released. They definitely need a win. But we'll see. Obviously, we'll be covering it. All the news that's coming out. And if it's a shitty
Live stream.
if it's a shitty event, at least we'll have Street Fighter.
That's right. And
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16.
And yeah, so at least if we don't get any good games,
Oh.
we'll be playing good games.
Yeah. I think everyone's going to be too busy playing games on PlayStation to watch this. So.
Damn, don't kick them in while they're down.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Next thing we want to talk about away from Xbox is the big Hogwarts Legacy patch. Avalanche Studios. I just had a brain fart. I'm like, who did this? Avalanche Studios just released a big patch for Hogwarts Legacy, along with the release of Hogwarts Legacy on PS4 and Xbox One, which they have been waiting on. The biggest thing on this patch, arachnophobia mode, which basically kind of disables the spiders in the game, which there are a lot of, or kind of turns them into some bright colored spiders with roller skates for legs, which they did in the Harry Potter movie, so kind of a callback. It also addresses 500 bugs, which I will talk about in my closing thoughts, but thank you for this because I have not crashed, and I've played the game for like 6 more hours, so I have not crashed, so thanks for this.
You were pretty heated about this.
Yeah, I was super pissed.
Yeah.
I was super pissed.
You had like 10 crashes in an hour or something?
Oh, yeah, I was like, it made me stop playing the game, and then
Yeah.
I realized that once I saw the patch, it definitely got me back on the good side.
And so you're on PC or
On PC.
Okay.
Yeah. They also announced that the game itself has sold over 15 million copies, which obviously it's only going to be more now with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And it's generated over $1 billion. Obviously, everybody's been a big Harry Potter fan, so no matter how this game turned out, I always thought that it was going to do well. Surprisingly, didn't think it was going to do 15 million copies in such a short time well. But obviously, I think it's great for the game. This just kind of makes me question the future of it. I like the game itself. I just wish it wasn't so kind of tied to Hogwarts and Harry Potter. I think maybe if they did their own thing and explored other schools and all that stuff would make it better. And the plans for the studio, I know that they haven't said anything yet, but they were probably thinking maybe doing DLC. But because of the success of this, are they going to probably think of just moving on and doing a sequel to the game itself and just kind of expand on that? Either way, I think it's good for them. It's good for the studio. Warner Brothers has been making some games that people have enjoyed, and I think it just kind of pushes them. Hopefully, they can just expand on the universe and not be tied to Harry Potter as much. What do you think, especially being the numbers guy?
Big numbers. I love to see big numbers. And oddly enough, I contributed to that, even though I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all. So that's why I was asking.
Maybe one day you'll go back into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you will.
I'm going to play the
Like,
game. I'll play the game. I've just been playing other stuff, but I do want to go back into it. The reason I bought it is because my wife is a huge Harry Potter fan, and I thought, oh, maybe she'll, and she plays, some games every once in a while, but she's not a big gamer. I thought this might be a cool game for her to play, but she played it for like a half hour, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, but I just don't want to play a video game. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I gave it a try. But yeah, I think it's something I want to check out. It looks cool. That's all. And it's, we talk about transmedia and all these things going on with people's kind of entry into an IP, and now there's just increasingly more, films getting adapted, or that's always kind of been happening with like TV and film properties, getting games made out of them, and now it's kind of going in the other direction, and we're seeing a lot of success with adaptations of games. So I think you'll just see a lot of IPs migrating in a more successful way to other content formats, and there'll be a lot more ways for people to get introduced to IPs. So I think we'll see more of that. And I just mentioned that because I think most people were introduced to Harry Potter through the books, and then if not the books, then the movies, and then for me it'll be most likely be the game. So maybe, so I just thought that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I'll check it out. And yeah, good to see. Even when my wife was playing the game, there was like really bad stuttering. I think it actually crashed, even in that 30, maybe it was a little more than 30 minutes, but not a lot. So once I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for this to get. I'm not in a rush to play it. I'll wait for it to get fixed. So it sounds like now would be a good time to get back into it.
Yeah, not to jinx it or anything, but I had no issues. There was definitely a lot of stuttering, lag, frame loading and stuff like that, but I haven't had anything like that happen to me, and I'm excited. I'm back into it, enjoying the game, so hopefully I'll be done pretty soon. One other thing I did want to say, especially with this, it's like a lot of people had been waiting for this for a while, and it definitely was. It's a good game. It's not a great game. I don't think it's going to win any Game of the Year awards. It might win like a good adventure game or action game or something like that. So that's why I think I'm fine with it. But hopefully, obviously, with the success of it, I hope they take a lot of risks in the future, like make it very different, just apply new things. Because it is, I think, besides the Harry Potter universe, the Hogwarts universe, and all that stuff, part of it, which is done really, really well, and you can tell that the developers are big fans of the universe, and they wanted fans of the universe to also enjoy it. I think besides that, it's a very kind of generic action game. So definitely my hopes for the future releases of this, any iterations or anything like that, that they take a lot of risks, they do, fun things, and they kind of steer away from the Harry Potter lore and kind of just do their own thing. So, go to the America schools or the African schools or the Asian schools. Go somewhere else. Stop going to England. Also, it's very foggy over there. Whatever. All right. Next thing we want to talk about, which will also be financially, it'll be financial. It'll be
for you.
It'll be numbers. You like numbers. Is the Destiny 2 Season Pass Brouhaha. I called it a brouhaha because I thought it was funny. But basically, Bungie announced that they're increasing the Season Pass from $10 to $12. Normally, you can buy the season separately, $10. I choose to buy the seasons along with the expansion. They do the expansion every year, usually releases in February, and then I'll buy the 4 seasons. It's better to buy in a bundle. I believe the last one I bought was for like $82, which I got on CD Keys. Good deal. I know not everybody has
$82.
Yeah, the expansion and the seasons. You don't think that's a good deal?
What's your total Destiny 2 investment?
Well, I bought all the expansions and all the seasons, even though there was a time period where like Destiny was shit, so I didn't play like 3 seasons. I bought those seasons because it came with the expansion. I want to say it's probably over $500 if I added everything.
Just Destiny 2?
Yeah, but that's $500. Well, that's $500 in 2 games, Destiny 1 and 2, with all the expansions and everything. I think $500 over 10 years of game and content. I think that's a good price.
Yeah, you almost spent that much money on Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, and I didn't even play that ever though. All right.
Yeah, I think if you amortize it over 10 years, that's not that, I mean, pretty good deal.
But that's the day and age we live in, where like the live service games, you gotta keep paying for shit.
Yeah,
which is also fine if the which like that's the basis of this argument with the season pass. If the content is good enough, are you willing to pay and continue paying for the content? So the main thing with this is that it's increasing $2 isn't too bad, but the way that they sell the currency, you can't just buy it with money. You buy it with Eververse coins, which is some stupid video game currency that they decided to make for this game. And the increments and values are this. So for $5 you get 500 coins. For $10 you get 1,100 coins, an extra 100. For $20 you get 2,300, an extra 300. And then for $30 you get 3,500, an extra 500. And then for $50 you get 6,000, so an extra 1,000. So the problem with this is, as you can see, there's no $12 one. So if you want to buy the season pass, you basically have to buy a $10 one and then a $5 one, or you have to buy a $20 one. And then you're left with these coins, which you can't, everything that they sell is kind of weird. So there's no increment value that you'll buy something and then you got to buy more of these coins. It's a big issue for a lot of people. I think they should just turn it. I'll get your point of view on this in a second, because you kind of know more about the values on this. The main thing, which I see a lot of people not giving a lot of pushback, is the reason that it's a great value. With normal games, like let's compare it to Fortnite, for example. For $10, you're just getting skins. You're getting the skins for the season and icons or whatever in the backpack and the pickaxe or whatever and all that stuff. That's all you're getting in a game like Fortnite. But in Destiny 2, you're getting weapons, you're getting cosmetics, you're getting story content, you're getting a whole bunch of other stuff. So definitely the value's there. Even if it's a $2 increase, great value. It's just people are super upset about the increments and all that stuff, and now like basically forcing people into spending that extra cash. If you could tell our listeners and our viewers how you explained it to me, because I didn't understand it that way, but obviously you made more sense with the numbers. So give them the.
I don't even know what I said. I know. I think there's some particularly like in mobile and gacha games, really like any kind of free to play game where you're not able to just like directly buy things with money. You need to like first convert your dollars into whatever the in-game currency is, and then they bundle the currency in very annoying ways that is mismatched to what you actually need to pay to get the items. So this is a thing that this exists in many other games, and it's something that's annoying. Maybe the difference is like that was just like what they have always done. Whereas I guess maybe this is like a new tactic for Bungie, and it's just something that's kind of annoying, ignoring their existing fan base. So maybe that's why it's getting a little bit more attention.
Yeah, it's getting. I think you're right. It's getting more attention because it's a weird value, $12.
Well,
and you have nothing that's $12.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I feel like it's like a pretty simple solve. So it sounds like people aren't questioning, is there enough value? Like they're not questioning the $12. They're questioning their ability to spend exactly $12 and not being forced to. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of annoying and just kind of a point of friction. I don't know why. Like, was there a situation where like a lot of players would have like leftover currency from prior transactions? Like maybe they were trying.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they have data to suggest that like, hey, there's like a lot of people sitting on currency that they can't really spend, so like let's just try to get them to use that anyway.
I think so, just because like I know a lot of the other cosmetics, they're like 200 coins, 300 coins, 700 coins or whatever, and that's for like for armor or emotes and stuff like that. And it's years back when they started doing this, they did say the reason is because they use the money for that people purchase all these cosmetics and stuff to fund DLC and to fund events and stuff like that, and that's totally understandable. But for me, like I think we talked about this. Paragon was the only game where I was buying cosmetics and skins and all that stuff. I don't do that for games, so I'm okay with it. Like I don't all the cosmetics and stuff that I get is by playing through the game and obviously through the season pass, so I have no problem with it. But I can totally see from somebody that's doing these purchases where like it's just a bad move for them. It's dumb. It's weird. There's no need for it. Like this is weird. But the market's weird. The pricing is weird. I don't know. Do you think?
It's I mean, to me, it's annoying, but it's a trend that's been occurring, and free to play games and other like any game that has its own economy and in-game currency, like it's just like a tactic to get people to convert more dollars into whatever the in-game currency is. So I don't love it, but it's a thing. So maybe Bungie's just trying to like align to free to play monetization, optimization, best practices, and I think they just probably know that people are just going to be like, be annoyed by it, but then do it anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't I don't want to sound like a Destiny snob, obviously, because I do buy all the seasons and stuff like that, but it does sound like the best option is to just buy the expansion pass with the seasons when they release, because you'll save more money. And this discussion I was having on WhatsApp with a lot of the gamers that play Destiny, and the main thing is Destiny is at the point where like, yeah, you'll get some new players, but most of the people that play Destiny have been playing Destiny for a while. They've been buying all the season and all that stuff. They don't really take breaks. So, like, the option of people buying individual seasons, yeah, it's cool to have, but the real hardcore gamers that are purchasing all this, they just buy the whole 4 seasons or whatever at one time because it's a better value and because they know they will be investing the time in it. But it does suck for those people that like to jump in and out of seasons, which I wouldn't recommend, because as Nick knows, because he's never gotten into it, it's hard to get in a Destiny season. If you're not in it in the long run, it's just not appealing to get into it. So hopefully they're pretty good about community feedback. So hopefully they have some statement on this. They haven't really released anything since they just kind of set the pricing and all that stuff. So maybe in the future we'll get something.
and is it like like a super simple solve for them where they could just be like, here is an option where you can do a dollar for dollar.
Yeah, I think if
And
they
get
just
the
do a
exact
dollar for
amount of
dollar thing.
currency that you need for this specific, like, it
Yeah.
kind of seems like they should just do that. But
I think if they go for dollar, but with that, I think it's more of a deep dive into why even do some stupid currency that you're converting your regular dollars, like that whole thing I don't get. So I don't know.
yeah,
Just,
I feel like they should have kind of picked their battles. Like, they're raising the price of content and then also making it more difficult to get the exact amount of currency you need to acquire that. So I kind of feel like they should have just picked one path. Like, I think they should have just been like, hey, inflation and like the amount of content is bigger than whatever the argument is for it to be $12 now. Like, I think they should have just leaned into that and reduced friction for fans to just actually get that specific content.
well, they just won $12 million off of some cheat makers, so maybe they were feeling good about themselves and just like, oh, we don't care, let's drop this
Yeah,
info.
$12 million is that's like
It's
a
not- yeah,
day. That's like a day of
One skin.
yeah. That didn't make an impact.
All right. So let's move on to the next topic. And the last thing we wanted to discuss is the Fortnite Star Wars collaboration. As everybody knows, Nick and I still play Fortnite. Every now and then we'd like to get in there. We just wanted to let everybody know that they are doing a Star Wars collaboration where you can purchase the Star Wars skins that they've had for a while, along with some new skins. Also in the game, you're able to use the Force if you pick up a lightsaber, which is pretty cool. And then you can unlock some free stuff with the free pass, or if you spend some V-Bucks, another currency thing, you can unlock the Darth Maul skin as well. So I think that's pretty good. Like I said, Fortnite, obviously, they know how to make these season passes and event passes that make people want to get these skins. So I might go in for that Darth Maul.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite's another one, right? Where they have
The V Bucks
they have like
instead of
certain bundles of V
dollars.
Bucks, and then the pricing of the the items in the item shop is kind of all over the place. So I guarantee they're doing that in a very intentional way, where they're
Yeah,
forcing people to buy more, V Bucks bundles than they probably were planning on, to like maximize the amount of items that they're going to purchase in the item shop. So
yeah.
Fortnite's absolutely doing that.
No, and definitely, like you said, there's no dollar for dollar option. I think it would just be too hard for them to create. So you either got to buy $10, $15, $20, 20.
They have like some, maybe you've seen that. It's like it's like the very bottom shelf, or like the second from the bottom shelf. They always have these like, for a while there was one from like DC. It was like all like these DC skins for like 24.99. Like you had to.
I missed that one. That's what I've been waiting for. I've been wanting to buy some DC skins, and
Oh, really?
they haven't been in rotation.
They weren't good. Like you're not missing much. But at the
Well,
very bottom,
Superman and Spider-Man.
check
I
it
mean,
out.
Superman and Batman.
Yeah, no, it was like I think it was like the Joker and maybe some other ones. I don't know, but you're not missing much. But yeah, sometimes at the very bottom they'll have like, it's not V Bucks, it's like dollars, and I'm just like, what?
You could just
Like,
do that. Yeah,
yeah.
just do
Yeah,
dollars.
so it's like they
man.
have the capability, they just
Yeah.
are choosing not to do that
All
for
right.
I think for a lot of reasons.
Well, play some Fortnite, get some Star Wars if that's your thing. I've been having fun. I got to finish my battle pass before the season's up in June, so been
I
grinding.
think I need to catch up. I guess I'll get into this in my closing thoughts, but I've been like very deep on Honkai Star Rail, so I haven't played much Fortnite. And when I saw the Star Wars collaboration, I guess it was the May the Fourth be with you type thing. I actually just don't like. I hate that trilogy. So like Darth Maul is like kind
He
of
looks cool, yeah.
but
And you get to wield a lightsaber.
yeah,
and
I mean
use the
that's
Force.
been in the game before. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess point being is like when I saw that, I'm like, whatever. Like I'll just get back into it whenever I get back into it. Like that specific collaboration isn't getting me super excited to jump back into it right away. So
Well, it ends on May 23rd. So if you get a chance and you're a big Star Wars fan, I recommend it. And I think we always kind of start playing more at the end of the season because we get the experience
we're
boost.
deadliners. Yeah, we got to get that
Yeah.
experience boost. Make sure we get as much. I think for me, when I got that, I think his name's Thunder, the lizard
Yeah,
guy. Like once I got the
Thunder
lizard
the
guy, I'm
lizard.
like, okay, I'm good.
Well, you got to get the variants. You
Yeah.
got to get all the Thunder variants. No, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll be grinding a little bit of Fortnite before the season's over. Once that they hit that XP button, so catch us on there if you're a big Fortnite person. All right, and that does it for all the news we wanted to discuss. We're gonna jump into some closing thoughts. I'll start it off. Obviously, like I was saying, Hogwarts Legacy, man. That big patch, I think it was 2.1 gigs, definitely has helped the game. I've had no crashing issues. The frame rate's been steady. The loading has been steady. And, I'm enjoying the game. Like I said, I think it's just like a normal game. It's a good game. Nothing innovative to kind of wow anybody, but I think it's really well done. And obviously the highlight of it is Hogwarts itself, the world and Hogsmeade and all that stuff. And you feel like, you're in Harry Potter world. So I'm back on it. If you were playing it and if you were having issues, make sure you get back on it. Everything should be good on that. The other thing I've been doing games-wise is Destiny Guardian games. If you are watching this on YouTube, I have my Guardian games, what's this called? Guardian
Stein?
games.
Tankard, yeah.
Tankard, yeah, I forget. My Guardian games Tankard, which I ordered like a year and a half ago, and I received it. But I've been playing Guardian games, which is just basically these competitions between the three classes: the Warlock, the Titan, and the Hunter, where you do certain events, you get medals, you deposit the medals into your thing, and then May 23rd as well. Everything ends on May 23rd when the new season starts. they'll declare a winner. A winner.
Whoa! We
Everybody
have. Did you know that's you just made a Simpsons reference and you don't even know it?
Yeah.
We have a wiener.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Okay.
You could get probably an Oscar Mayer winner. No, but
Yeah.
you get they'll declare a winner for the class. One thing about this, which I think it's really cool, is that everybody has been playing Titan to try and get the Titans to win. And then I know we talked about this. Lance Reddick, who passed away recently, he was one of the voice actors for Destiny. He played Commander Zavala, which was the Vanguard, basically the main guy for the Titans on Destiny. So it's really cool to see the community kind of band together for the Titans to win. Even though I'm a Hunter main, I do appreciate that they're doing this to have the Titans win in honor of him. So that's pretty cool. And then as far as watching stuff, I haven't really been seeing anything new lately. I've been watching a lot of old shows. But I have been watching League of Legends. Even though I'm not good at League of Legends, I do like still watching it. And right now it's the mid-season invitational. It just started on May 2nd as well. Just the play-ins for a lot of the smaller regions. The bigger regions are going to start playing this week. And it's looking fun, man. I enjoy it. I love the esports aspect of it. I think obviously League of Legends and Riot, they do such a good job. It's one of the biggest esports events ever, and they do a good job producing it, and the talent and all that stuff that they have on there is pretty good. And I think maybe in the future we'll do more esports coverage. I think we both like watching Street Fighter games or just any fighting game tournaments and stuff like that, and other tournaments. And esports is big, so maybe we'll see. What are your thoughts?
Esports is big.
Put it on a shirt.
We'll do. We'll do. I mean, you're way more into the MOBA esports scene. For me, it's mainly just Street Fighter, fighting games. So, not that I like. Well, I guess this is what I was gonna say. It's like I think not this upcoming one, maybe the next one. I do feel like we should just enter Evo, and then immediately get smoked. But
no, I think we're gonna be good.
Nah, dude, no. Have you seen
2024 Evo?
We're too old. There's like a whole meme around how Street Fighter 6 is like it's like real fast, and
I think
like older people are just gonna get smoked. But
well, speaking of that, they're doing
included.
Project L, the League of Legends fighting game. Mm-hmm. So maybe we could do some esports on that. That'd be cool.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my perspective, not too much. I did mention last week I was playing Honkai Star Rail, and I pretty much just leaned into that even further, basically the whole week. So I've been grinding pretty hard, man.
Are you a Honkai Star Rail whale?
No.
Oh, okay, so you're not spending no money on this thing.
So far I've spent $9.99, which is basically like buying the battle pass. And I did the battle pass after I just did that like yesterday maybe or 2 days ago.
Oh, like you bought it, but then you had already leveled it up. You just need to buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. Which that's because what I've done with Genshin, I did it a couple times with Genshin where I would buy that thing, but then like I just never played through the whole thing and got like the full value of it. But now because I played it so much, I think I'm like, I don't know, like halfway through the battle pass, and there's still like nearly 30 days, maybe just over 20 days left in like the battle pass period. So either way, so I've spent 99. I feel good about that. I mean, whaling is you're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to, basically get every high value item from polling. So that's not. I'll never do that. Like I've maybe spent. I'm trying to think with Genshin. I maybe spent like $40. And again, maybe I don't know, somewhere between 40.
But those were the passes, right? Like you were buying passes.
Yeah. Maybe I would buy like certain bundles of whatever the currency is, but mostly passes and stuff like that.
Now, is this dollars or fake Honkai currency?
Oh no, it's $99. That's my current investment into Honkai, and then I think with Genshin it was, I don't know, maybe it was like somewhere between like 40 and $60. I think my mental math for, or like my like thought process with these games is like, okay, do I like playing the game? As question, it's free to play, so you just install it and start playing it, and it's like, do I like the game, and how much time am I putting into it, and is that something that I enjoy doing? And if I'm like really having a good time and getting a lot of value out of it, then I have no problem spending up to $60 or whatever I would otherwise pay for like a full, like a full retail price game. So I kind of view that as like my cap on spending is like $60, $70 on what I would spend anyway on like a similar experience. So that's how I approach it, at least. So I'm never going to be spending that much money. And we do have some friends who do, they're whales and they're proud of it.
Don't worry, if I ever see you becoming a whale, I will do an intervention.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll probably need it. Yeah, I feel like people maybe with like gambling addictions maybe are kind of correlate with whaling, and we've been to Vegas before. Like you've seen me.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. Like I don't care about gambling like at all. So
that's why we win, baby. That's why we win.
yeah. So I think it's a safe thing for me. And then I also like have had insane luck, with it's a gacha game similar to Genshin where you get like tickets, or you either buy these tickets or you earn tickets, and then you can pull for different items, and everyone wants the best characters and all that. So I've had like an insane streak of luck with both Genshin and Honkai. So with Honkai I got like basically the best character and then like their best weapon without spending like any money. And so I guess maybe that helps. But
yeah, you've been sending some like pictures and stuff, and I don't shit about the game, but our friend Henry, who also plays the game, is like amazed.
Yeah. So I guess I got pretty lucky. But even if I didn't get lucky, like I wouldn't be like, oh, let me spend hundreds of dollars. I would just be like annoyed. But what I think is maybe better, at least for me, is even if you're not getting the best characters, like the game's very much free to play, viable, and you can build a team and create strategies for all the different kind of challenges that the game poses to you. So I think that I would have been fine with that. It's just kind of annoying if you don't get the exact thing that you want, but that's how they design that their business model.
Man, it looks like this is gonna hold you over until Zelda, and then until Final Fantasy and Street Fighter. This is your holdover.
I think I'll probably have a similar like engagement pattern that I did with Genshin, where I would dip into that for like a couple weeks, play it a lot, and then drop out for like months. And then whenever there's a big new patch or some expansion drops, I would jump back into it. So I think I probably got like another week in me. I'm going to write out the battle pass that I just paid for, and after that I'll play it by ear. But you kind of just like run out of stuff at some point, and you just got to wait for them to catch up. So, and I've been playing it like a lot.
Yeah.
So like I'm like I think I'm more or less like content, like main story quests complete.
It's been your closing thoughts for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. So no, I'm having a good time. So, yeah, it's just a fun game. So it's definitely going to keep me, again, at least another week. Maybe I'll pick up Hogwarts. It'll either be Hogwarts or Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem
Just
with that
I
is
think it's
like
better
I got like over halfway through it, and is this like trying to pick that game up again? Is this gonna
I
be? It's
think
gonna be.
I think you'll be
Tough.
fine. I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't restart it. Obviously, it's a very big game.
Yeah.
I think if you just gotta push through it. We've all been there. We had that slog where it's like you haven't played a game in months or years, and then you kind of pick it right back up. And in the beginning, it's like, why am I even doing this? But once you get through that slog, you're like, oh, okay,
My
you'll be
most
fine.
my most famous example of that is The Witcher 3, where
Oh yeah, I
I
think I did the
basically
same thing.
build a computer specifically to play The Witcher 3 at launch at like the best possible settings, and then I played it for like maybe like 10 hours, and then just got sidetracked somehow, and then I want to say it was like well over a year, if not like
Wow, that's a lot.
yeah, I mean, like I just didn't play it for like a very long time. I completely forgot everything. Picked it back up and ended up playing it for well over 100 hours because like by then all the expansions came out and the expansions were fantastic, and so it's possible. And I feel like The Witcher 3 is maybe kind of similar where there's a lot to kind of digest. So
Yeah, it's really
it's
good
possible.
content. It's obviously it won a lot of awards, and it's just a great game overall. I think you'll be fine. All right, that does it for us. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and all that. And make sure you go to our website, pressingbuttons.gg. And if you can, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know if you're enjoying the show. Let us know if you're hating the show. You can give us hate. We're fine with that.
We love our
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah, we love people talking to us. And we appreciate you guys. That does it. And we will see you on next week's episode. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.